today we're talking about seller scripts. Thursdays are for scripting, and we're going to tackle sellers because even though we got a rate reduction yesterday, we are still in a seller's market, and we covered buyers last week. So let's dive in, shall we? That is weird. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Nothing looks the same anymore. It's so weird. All right. So we're going to talk about the listing presentation sequence today. And that is kind of the steps that I follow always, every time, same thing every time, because I like to think of it like this. If you make kick-ass chocolate chip cookies, you're probably going to make them the same way every time, right? You're not going to experiment with the ingredients or the temperature or anything. You're just going to follow the same steps. And it's only through following the same steps that you have the right to predict the outcome, right? And we all want to predict an outcome for a listing presentation of winning and getting hired. So follow the same process when you do this, right? So here's the process. We're going to prepare. I'm going to walk through what those steps are. We're going to talk about what you do when you get there. We're going to talk about the setup, then the 3 questions, and then the actual listing presentation and slide deck. We don't have enough time today to get through all 5 steps, but we will cover the last 2 next week. So let's dive in, shall we? So prep. You know, you should prepare before every meeting. If you go and you try and just wing it, you have a much less likely of a successful outcome, right? And you want to prepare as though everything's going to go perfectly and you're going to win, right? So if that's the perfect scenario and the perfect outcome, that means you should go prepared with a CMA already done. You should have your laptop. You should have the listing paperwork. On my team, we call it the VIP seller folder. So you can just grab and go, right? Your CMA. We're also in the coming weeks, we're going to cover our process called the Color Picture CMA Tour. And you're going to learn how we're able to show sellers how to be reasonable in their pricing. That's a really powerful script. And I'm going to teach that to you guys. And then wear decent socks. And you'll understand why in a second, all right? And remember, the goal, to get hired. So plan for that. Prepare for that. Bring all the tools that you will need in order to sign them. You know, a lot of people go and they have a first meeting and it's a love fest. They're trying to bond and build rapport. I'm doing that too. I'm bonding and building rapport as well. But I'm also bringing the listing agreement with me so that I can get you to put pen to paper, right? So what do I do once I arrive, right? I always try and arrive 2 to 4 minutes early. I had a listing in January, $2 million listing. She literally said, we hired you because you showed up before our appointment was scheduled. Everyone else showed up at or after. How hard is that to just be a couple minutes early, right? Plus, when I get there, I'm going to shoot pictures of the house from the outside. So I'm going to take a minute before I even ring the doorbell. Now, here's an important step. Turn your car and your car radio off. Why do you think you turn your car radio off? Well, I'll tell you. It's so that when you get back in the car and you turn the engine on, the radio isn't blaring at you and you can think clearly and debrief. How did that go? Did they hire me? If they didn't, why? Did I say something that I want to learn from and never say again? Or did I say something that I didn't say perfectly and I want to practice it? Turn your car radio off so that when you get back into your car, you can really think clearly and triage how it went, right? When you get out of your car, shoot a picture of the front of the house, shoot up and down the street, left and right. And then as you're walking up to the front door, snap a close-up of the house number, right? The address. You're going to, I did one yesterday. I shot 137 photos in this house. Well, one of the first 3 photos was the house number. Makes it a lot easier to remember which photos go to which house when they're separated by a close-up of the house number, right? Go up, ring the doorbell. When they answer the door, all you're going to say is, "Are you ready to get your home sold?" Then hold out your hand to shake theirs. Really simple. "Are you ready to get your home sold?" And then they're going to say whatever they're going to say, right? But that's why I say those exact words every time, because I want to read what their response is, because it could tailor my presentation, right? I could alter my presentation by how they answer. Like if they say, "Well, that depends on what you're going to charge me," or "That depends on what you say it's going to sell for," right? Or "We're not really sure yet." So you can get a lot of intel out of a prospect by simply saying, "Are you ready to get your home sold?" I say it with a lilt in my voice, with an uplift and excitedly, and then they respond with however they respond, and I make a mental note of that so that I can then address their concerns if they've expressed any. Then respectfully enter their property, right? And if you see shoes stacked around the front door, take your shoes off. Now you know why you need decent socks, right? Don't even ask, "Would you like me to remove my shoes?" Because a lot of people will say, "Oh, no, it's fine." Show respect by taking them off without even asking, right? Or if you have giant feet like I do, I have oversized booties that I bring with me that fit over my giant feet, right? But one way or another, show them respect without them having to ask you for it, and that will win you credibility and rapport with them, right? Now we're going to tour the home, right? So what you want to do is you want to walk in, set your laptop bag down at the kitchen table. And by the way, choose your seat carefully, right? In some cultures, you will lose the listing if you sit next to the wife. So recognize that and choose the seat carefully. So what does that mean? Well, I never sit at the head of the table, right? That's respect for whoever sits there. I will sit at a corner so that at least on one side of me, I'm not sitting next to somebody. That cuts my risk in half. And then I try and read the room, and you'll see the property owners will sort of walk to whatever seats they usually sit at because they think you're about to sit down. But I don't. I set down my laptop bag next to the chair I plan to sit in. And then I say, "Can I get a tour of the home? Or would you mind giving me a tour of the home?" And they go, "Oh, well, yeah, we can do that." And they are going to give you a tour. You want to shoot photos, right? Because part of this process is to understand the condition of the home. Maybe it's a property that's in a candidate for a moving concierge project or something like that, right? But don't shoot any photos without getting their permission first, because photos are scary to people. They think you're going to take them straight onto the internet, and they probably didn't even really clean the house before you arrived. And when you say, "Can I shoot photos?" be prepared for them to say, "No, it's not ready for photos," or something to that equivalent, right? And you want to say, no, these are not for marketing. These photos will not see the light of day, is what I say. These photos are just for my benefit so that I can remember what I saw and do a better job of writing your marketing remarks. And they go, oh, okay, right? And then you snap photos as you walk through the rooms. And like I said, I shot 137 images yesterday of a house. That's a lot. Usually it's between 70 to 80, depends on the size of the house. But this particular house had a lot of stuff wrong with it. I shoot photos of damage, things that should be repaired before we list, or conditional, images so I can opine on whether it's a moving concierge candidate, things like that, right? Just shoot lots of photos. We all carry phones with us now. There's no risk of running out of film, right? Now, what to look for, you're actually looking for reasons to bond with the seller, right? So not only are you looking at the condition of the paint and the carpeting and all that stuff, but also look at the photos that they have on the shelves. If you see that they've been to, a place that you've been, like, oh, you've been to Chelan? I love Chelan, or whatever, right? If they kayak, oh, I've always wanted to do that. You don't have to have done everything in every house that you ever go into, right? But you want to connect and bond with people over their interests. And if you do find something like photos of Italy and you've been to Italy, great. Bond over that, right? By the end of this tour, you want to have built rapport. And the fastest way to build rapport with somebody is to compliment them and ask them questions about themselves. So these photos or awards or trophies, whatever, can help you do that, right? All right. And then the wrap up, once you get back to the kitchen, you want to thank them for the tour, and you want to take your seat, right? Once you're seated, you're going to pull out your laptop and a notepad or a place to take notes, because we are going to start our listing presentation by asking them 3 questions. And we are not going to cover that today, but I'll just give you kind of a clue in. The 3 questions are in order to tailor our presentation to what interests they have, what their goals are, etc. Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see you guys again. But, wow, this is terrible. How long has Mary been waiting?
I got in.
Did you get in?
Yes, I did.
It's so weird. There's something new about Zoom because I can't see any of you when I'm presenting, which sucks. So questions about that before I move on. Does that make sense? Are you ready to get your home sold? It can be very telling, right? People will tell you a lot about their plans and or reservations, right? That can be a really important little nugget that you'll get when you say, are you ready to get your home sold? Gosh, I'm not sure. I really don't know, right? It's a question that takes them off guard, and it's a very probing question, and you'll learn some stuff out of it, right? So let me go back into the share, and I won't be able to see you guys again, which sucks for me, but that's all right. All right. So I want to give you a bonus script today. And then don't forget, every week I'm going to leave the last 10 minutes so that you guys can ask me questions about specific scripts that maybe you need that I haven't covered yet, right? Like if you say, well, I've got a meeting tomorrow with the seller to talk about price reduction, what would you say? Or whatever, right? We'll cover that. But the bonus script today is when a seller says, well, you're going to tell me what my home is worth, right? I always say, well, actually, my job is to give you 3 numbers. And they look at you like, what? Yeah. The first number is your home's market value. Your home has a specific value, and it's not a range like most brokers would tell you. And I put and that's evidence in parentheses because I get aggressive here. You don't have to, but I do. Because I say, well, you know how most brokers give you a range, and that's evidence that they're not very good at this, that they're terrible at it, frankly, because they're afraid to give you a pinpointed number. But I'm going to give you a pinpointed number because I'm really good at this, right? Your home has a value and it's a single number, and I will be able to tell you what it is. Now, I know that conviction might give some of you pause, right? Or scare the crap out of you, right? But that's a skill that you got to work on, and I'll help you. If we want to do CMAs and valuations for one of these weeks, we absolutely will. There is an art and a science to doing market analyses, and I can teach you guys exactly how to do that so that you're able to say these words with conviction, right? So the first number is your home's market value. The second number is the list price, because the list price and the market value are rarely the same number. And that's because we're trying to use the list price to maximize the third number, which is what does it ultimately sell for? Do you see how if you explain to a seller, you know, when you respond to a seller that says, what's my home worth? Or are you going to tell me what my home is worth? And you dissect it into, well, actually, I'm going to cover 3 different numbers for you, and here's what they are. Do you see how that's a differentiator? Because most agents will go, yeah, or I'm going to give you a range. And I just destroy them, right? You have to assume that a certain percentage of people you meet with will have already met with other realtors. And along the way, I am shredding those other realtors. And I don't hide that from you guys, right? It is a critical step to demonstrate and differentiate yourself, demonstrate expertise, right? This is one of the ways. Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you what your home is worth, but I'm going to tell you a lot more, right? Shoot a picture of that if you guys want. This is also being recorded, so you can refer back to it. But that's a really powerful script.
And can I make a quick request?
Sure.
It's hard to take a screenshot. You've got your little bar there that says stop sharing and hide. I don't know if you can drag that down. Oh, there. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. I didn't hide it because it wasn't blocking any of the words, but you were absolutely right. I should have hit it. But now I don't know how to get it back. All right. So this yeah. Let me
Are you questions too, or waiting till the end?
hang on. I gotta get back to that there. Sorry, Sherry, ask your question again.
Yeah, brief question about, is there something wrong with asking, I love this way, is there something wrong with saying, hey, this is the range, but the specific number I would put it at is this? Is that okay too? Because that's what I've been doing, and it seems to work.
That sounds like the words of somebody who's timid, though. Like, there's a reason I am super specific. Your home is worth X. And think of it like this. Your home is worth X, but we're going to assign a list price that's different than X. That is a different way of giving a range anyway. So you're able to coach them on, you know, we should list it for Y instead of X because of these reasons. And next week, we're going to talk about price bracketing, but I'll just touch on it here so you can kind of understand and visualize what I'm talking about. Price bracketing is, have you guys ever noticed when you look at listings on the MLS or on any of the sites, the prices all end with 900, 950, or 999? When I point that out to a seller in my listing presentation, I follow it with the words, that's proof that those realtors don't know how to market real estate on the internet. That's a strong sentence, right? And that's conviction about what I'm saying. But it's true, right? Because of price bracketing, which is, if you go into any of these sites, Zillow, Redfin, or whatever, the first question it's going to ask is, what is the min and max price, right? Well, if I list, I'm in Seattle, so our median is like 900,000. If I list a house for $899, the guy or gal who's searching from $850 to $900 would see it, but the guy or gal who's searching from $900 to $950 would not see it. So all I have to do is raise it $1 or $100 or $1,000, whatever. If I did $899, $999, I'd just raise it $1, and I double the eyeballs, because now it's 900,000 even, and both the searcher from 850 to 900 would see it, and the 950 or 900 to 950 would see it. And I do that with my hands, like I just did, because I'm in front of you at your kitchen table and I'm demonstrating it, and that's a wonderful visual aid, right? So the reason I'm explaining all this is because if my CMA comes in at 910, I should price it for 900 anyway because of that. At 925, I might want to still price it at 900. Kind of depends on the websites, right? If the website does increments of 25,000, then 925 is fine. But once you hit a certain level, the increment expands and it jumps to 50,000. Well, then I should either price at 950 or 900, but not 925 for these reasons. So back to Sherry's question. If I say your home is worth between 890 and 910, now let's talk about where I'm going to price it. I'm falling in line with all those other agents that aren't very good at this. So if that's working for you, that's your prerogative for sure. I like to step on my competition's throat.
Yeah, you can get away with it. I couldn't.
Right? Well, all of you can and will as you practice this. And play around with it. In the end, authenticity wins, right? So as you can tell, when I say these things, I've said them all a lot before, so I'm very comfortable with them. But what matters most is that you're convicted and authentic in what you're saying. So can you say a range? Yeah. You're just blending in with everybody else anyway. Then you better stand out in other ways. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Alex said, I like ending with 300, 500, and 700. Yeah. You're reducing the visibility of your listing though, Alex. The other thing I say to sellers in that part of the conversation about price bracketing is 900, 950, or 999 or 888 because they're trying to manipulate the Chinese market. And every time I say that, the seller goes, yeah, I have noticed that. Well, that's evidence that those agents do not know how to market real estate on the internet, and here's the reason why. It's psychology, exactly. All right, we got 5 more minutes for the open Q&A part. Does anyone else have an upcoming meeting or a dialogue they tried recently that failed? They'd like to, brainstorm ways to make it better? If not, that's fine. Colleen, you turn on your camera. Are you going to ask a question?
I am going to ask a question.
Right on.
I was going to ask about door knocking scripts. So if,
what to say? I like it.
Hey, if you do get somebody that will open the door.
Yeah, we can definitely kick that around. So there's basically 2 reasons to door knock. One is because you're farming a neighborhood and you want to become the queen of that neighborhood, right? The other is in anticipation of an open house. So you're door knocking the neighbors around your open house. So I'll cover the second one first, and then we'll dig in, because the first one is the bit longer one. The door knocking for an open house is pretty easy. Hey neighbor, I just wanted to make you aware that we're holding an open house at the Johnsons, and I use the owner's name because they're neighbors. Hopefully they know each other. And we are having a neighbors only window of time from noon to 1. So if you wanted to stop by without having to rub elbows with strangers, you are welcome to come on by between noon and 1. And that's it, right? So in our market, and this can vary by market, but in our market, the most common open house window is 1 to 4. So you actually want to show up at 11, door knock, and then hold it privately open. So you don't broadcast the noon to 1 or noon to 4. You broadcast 1 to 4, but then be there from noon to 1 for the people that you door knock. And you'll find a lot of neighbors will show up. And the best part about that process and that approach is this is a seller lead gen technique, right? Open houses typically are buyer lead gen. Not if you door knock the neighbors, right? Because they're going to be impressed with the fact that you door knocked them. They're going to come and see the house. They're going to see that it's clean, it's staged, and it looks nice. If they're thinking about selling, you're going to be able to offer to do a CMA for them and bond and build rapport and book an appointment. And that's a listing opportunity, right? So that's the power of doing that neighborhood knock and the 1 hour window for neighbors, right? Now, if you're door knocking for a neighborhood that you're trying to dominate, that's a different conversation. And you want to have an item of value that you can give to people. So I like to give, and these aren't the only two things you can do, but I do this. I can offer you a market analysis on your home, a current one, and I'll give you the dialogue for that. Or I can offer you referrals to contractors. So like on my team, I'm the team leader, and I used to be a general contractor. So I have over 200 subcontractors that I've worked with, and we have that list. That's a really valuable list if you're door knocking a neighborhood and the homeowner says, oh, you have a list of vendors? Yeah. Do you have a roofer? Yeah, I got like 5 of them. Give me your email address. I'll send you a bunch that you can call and get quotes from, right? That's a godsend to somebody who's stressing out about their roof leaking or whatever, right? So the scripts sound like this, and I want to really draw some emphasis to the CMA offer. Door knock, they answer the door. Hi, my name's Colleen. I'm a realtor in the area, and I specialize in Whispering Winds or whatever neighborhood I'm in, right? I'm just going door to door to meet the neighbors and also offer you an updated market analysis so you can learn what your biggest assets value is in this market. And I emphasize the word this because most consumers are jumping on Zillow and getting their Zestimate, right? And I'll give you a dialogue if they say something about that. But by emphasizing this market, it draws some distance between when's the last time you looked at your Zestimate. And I've been seeing headlines. I just saw the Fed lowered rates 50 basis points yesterday. We're now in a new market. What is my house worth today as compared to yesterday? That's how the consumer brain works, right? So what's your home worth in this market will cause them to be more likely to say, yeah, I am curious to know what it is, right? If they say, oh no, I don't need that. I just checked Zillow yesterday. This is the dialogue. I literally start with a giggle. I go, oh, you're serious? You think a Zestimate is meaningful? Have you ever looked at their disclosure page? It says that the Zillow's estimate is 10% wrong over 62% of the time. Well, in this market, 10% can be a $100,000 swing, right? A much more accurate and valuable resource would be having a human like me with experience putting together a market analysis for you. And then you can compare it to your estimate and see who was more accurate. And then they'll go, okay, well, yeah, go ahead then. Great. What's a good email address for you? If I have any questions for you, can I get your phone number? Well, I don't want to give you my phone number. Okay, well, I won't be able, in my analysis, I won't be able to reflect any of the improvements you've made. Well, I'll tell you right now. Okay, great. Take some notes. You redid the flooring or whatever. So get into a conversation. You're always trying to pull their contact details out, right? The last one is the contractor. Thanks, Sahini. Good to see you. Hey, I'm Colleen. I'm an expert in whispering winds. I'm just going door to door, meeting the neighbors. And I'm also making sure they know that if they ever need a repairman for anything, that I have a list of over 200 contractors that I can refer you to. So if you need your floors redone or you need a new roof or a plumber or whatever, let me know. I'm happy to do that. Can I give you one of my cards? You know, cards and door hangers. Door hangers are good because a lot of the doors aren't going to get answered, right? So leaving a door hanger on their knob that has a QR code that drives them to a landing page. If you have a good call to action on the landing page, they'll opt in, get a free list of homes or, you know, whatever. So those are the offers that I make. If anyone on the call offers something else when you door knock, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you.
You bet. And we run a minute or two long, so I apologize, but I hope you guys found it valuable. And don't forget, next week, we're going to cover the 3 questions that we asked before the listing presentation. And then I'm going to actually go through our presentation slide by slide. Then you can steal it or hijack it or whatever. Okay? All right. Have a great day, everybody.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.